Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the board meeting. I have roll call, please.
Mr. Finaro. Here. Ms. Reed.
Here.
Ms. Grosek.
Here.
Mr. Hess.
Here.
If you would all rise and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have some great honors this evening, and so I will pass the baton to Dr. Martin.
Thank you, Madam President. We do have a lot of people to honor, certainly some presentations tonight. First off, I'm going to call up Mr. Satullo from the IT department.
Hello everybody, my name is Tony Satullo. For those who don't know me, I am the Assistant Tech Director. Unfortunately, John is out of town tonight and he's not able to make it. We have provided a video that is going to give brief updates from our department. If you have any questions after the video, please let me know.
The Mayfield Technology Department, we continue our mission to find the best ways to integrate technology into each and every learning space throughout the Mayfield City School District. As the spaces and modalities for learning evolve, the technology used to drive these changes plays a more critical role in preparing our students for the demands of tomorrow's workforce. Commitment to student achievement, a responsible vision for the use of technology in district facilities, and an unwavering commitment to the principles outlined in the Portrait of a Mayfield Wildcat are the guidestones that make the Mayfield Technology Department one of the best in Ohio. Some of the exciting things happening this year include the continued implementation of casting and interactive TVs in district classrooms and multi-purpose rooms, continuing to provide student Chromebooks and assisting in the repair process, rolling out two-factor authentication to keep employees' data and information secure, brand new wireless access points to increase network speed and enhance Wi-Fi connectivity, a fiber connection upgrade to keep our network operating into the future, installation of a light-speed web filter this summer to improve student safety, leveraging the use of artificial intelligence in student learning. These are only some of the ways the Mayfield Technology Department continues to create a world-class learning environment, assisting educators across the district and helping every student every day.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. You see the theme tonight, we're celebrating our departments. During the year, we have with board support to the buildings and highlighted each building. And tonight you'll see the theme of recognizing and celebrating our departments. Next up, we will have Mr. Mark Golia, Transportation Department.
Okay, again, my name is Mark Golia. I'm the Director of Transportation. Rachel Bach over there is our Assistant Director. In the Transportation Department, see a couple pictures of, on the left there's kids made that from one of their drivers. There's the class of, it's a 5th grade class at Millridge, and then in the street when it was bus driver appreciation week last week, some kids did some artwork in the street for one of the drivers.
Just talking about the technology program.
That's all right. So daily, we have 46 AM runs, and transport kids all around the city, CVAC, Excel Tech, etc. Another 47 runs in the PM. There's a picture of one of our drivers and one of our special ed students who gets a van transportation every day. If you can see that thing with all the green dots, that's what it looks like every morning when our buses are crawling all over the city, driving everybody to school. We do a little bit over 2,500 miles a day, and we transport 2,200 students every morning. We do that all again in the afternoon. And we do all 7 Mayfield schools and the 16 private schools that are close to us in distance. Besides those, we do field trips every day, athletic trips after school, we transport our clubs everywhere, and then the joke around the garage is we are also Uber service because we do special requests throughout the day. It might be something where a kid needs to get home, and we just radio out and somebody goes and picks them up. This year we did over 700 trips in addition to our daily duties of just getting kids to and from school. But the most important reason why we're here is this is the best of our drivers. When we were told to kind of come up with a group, I decided the best way is to get the other drivers to nominate their peers. So everything I read about drivers tonight, we have 4 drivers and one of our secretaries. Everything is something from a colleague. Our first person is Tom Murphy. Tom, if you want to come on up. Okay, as colleagues said, Tom is willing to help almost all of the time. Rarely on the radio except to offer help. If there was a trip to be covered, Tom is our man. Rachel and I are never worried if his name is close to a trip that has to come up because we know he's going to take it. And again, he steps up and does whatever it takes. And Tom is finishing his 7th year as a driver here. Thank you, Tom. Next, we have Jason Burke. Jason's colleague said he's always in a good mood and he has a great sense of humor. It's not uncommon to find him sitting with others and laughing. Besides driving our students with special needs in the AM, he mans our food truck, making sure all lunches are delivered every day. Jason does whatever route we dump on him each afternoon. In the afternoon, when we have a driver out, we give it to Jason. And he does it with a smile on his face. He would give you the shirt off his back. Jason is finishing his 11th year here with this year. Oh, just one for me. You want us in the back row? No. So that's Brianna. All right, so Yildez is one of our secretaries. She's the morning shift. Yildez and I are manning the phones and the radio all morning. It's pretty madness in the morning to get our kids to and from school. Her driver said about her, always helpful, pleasant, and a true team player. Never complains. Besides managing the office during the AM runs, it is not uncommon for her to fill in as a bus aide for our students with special needs. She's also the office decorator. Our office is always in season. She takes care of everyone. Valdez is always smiling. And Valdez is finishing her 10th year in the district, 2nd year with us in transportation. Next we have Chris Welch. This is rather unique. Chris is in his first year. He started with us in August. He truly is a great team player. He's always willing to help anyone. Transportation is very lucky to have Chris. Colleagues said you rock. Volunteers for extra rides and is dependable. Has the do whatever it takes attitude. Recently started working as a midday custodian in between AM and PM shifts, and he does after hours trips as well. In case you didn't know, some of our drivers drive in the morning, leave and go to the elementary schools, help out in the elementary schools, and then come back and drive in the afternoon. Chris is one of them. And again, Chris is just finishing up his first year. We're planning on keeping him next year. And our last driver to be nominated was Dick Six. Dick's colleague said he's always willing to help, generous, considerate, and kind. Gives extra time and attention to others. Friendliest driver we have, always willing to help anyone. Besides being a tremendous asset to our garage, he's simply just a great person. Above all else, all the kids love him. And Dick is finishing his 18th year with us here in the district. Been here a while. And then I'm going to end with this and just add a little humor. That's how we all feel here at the end of the year. This is Chris in his duties as a midday custodian. He was on his swings with the kids, and it looks like they pushed him off. Thank you.
All right, the celebration continues with food services. It's Robin Smith.
Yes, I'm Robin Smeel, Food Service Director, and I also have a video. I have to thank Mike Volkovitz's digital media class for putting together this video for us. So I will.
So this is our latest piece of equipment, brand new. It's a combi oven. It steams It roasts, it grazes, it does everything. This is state of the art, all computerized. It does everything. It makes my job easier.
They're also a self-sufficient operation, which means that we don't use taxpayer money for our operation. We really rely on the money coming in for the food service operation, for lunch prices. We rely on that money to run our operation.
We generally make a dozen salads every day to sell in our a la carte.
We try to have a lot of variety for the kids, healthy options.
I think we're putting out about 300 and some plate lunches a day, so that's not including a la carte and all our sandwiches. So anything that can make our jobs easier to take care of you guys, we're happy with.
So another important duty for servers and especially the cook is to keep daily detailed production records. And this is, we have to actually track all of the food that's prepared, all of the food that's offered, and then all of the food that is taken. So at the end of the day, we know exactly what was used. Coming to visit our kitchens to do that video. So first up is Meg Stifler, high school head cook. And I do want to say that all of my honorees have 20 plus years in Mayfield. They started in food service and they're still in food service. So that's all three of my honorees. So as we saw in the video, Meg is a rock star here at the high school kitchen. She is take charge, can-do problem solver, and I just don't even know what I would do without you. I know many times I came into the kitchen this year and I said, you have been a rock. So I just want you to know I appreciate your commitment, your dedication, and she's looking forward to the summer, but you will catch her at Mayfield Village Pool. So she doesn't take summers off. She's going to be working at Mayfield Village Pool during the summer. So thank you, Meg. She is a Mayfield grad, has been with the district in food service for over 20 years. She has many roles. She's a team leader at the middle school. She has several roles. She is in charge of the breakfast and the a la carte line at the middle school. So the middle school kids really look forward to her line, especially a la carte line. She is also crucial in the satellite service that we saw at the second half of the video was the food truck loading up. So Mary Lynn is crucial in coordinating a lot of those items that go out to the middle school, from the middle school to the elementary schools. And she is about to be a grandma. Her first grandchild is due literally any day now, so I'm glad she's here. And she also babysat Mark, the director of transportation. So thank you so much for your dedication.
Yes, he's trouble.
Third is Sunny Tizano. Sunny has also been in the district for more than 20 years. She started at Gates Mills, worked her way up to head cook at the middle school. Also, for 15 years, she has been in charge of getting meals out to the elementary schools, the satellite service at middle school, as well as cooking for the middle school. Over the past 5 years, you have been a total inspiration. She has been so determined, perseverance, just, I cannot tell you how much you have inspired all of us. She has been fighting major health challenges, and she shows up every day and wants to be a part of all of this. So thank you so much, and thank you for your dedication and commitment. And she's also worked at Wildcat Fitness Center, so thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Recognize our operations staff, kind of like the unsung heroes, right? Not necessarily on the front lines, but also on the front lines. Certainly, if we're not feeding kids, if we can't get them to school, we can't teach them. So, certainly appreciate everything. Okay, next up, Mr. Steve Bentley.
Fellows are going to walk up now. Mayfield City Schools would like to thank and honor our dedicated school resource officers for their tireless work, dedication to the safety of our students, staff, and community. The SRO assignment is unique within the law enforcement profession. They serve three parts or three roles. They serve as informal mentors to students, law educators for students and staff, and law enforcement when needed. Our school resource officers are valuable and essential members of our Mayfield school community. On behalf of the Board of Education, Dr. Barnes, and all of our students and staff, thank you for all that you do. It is truly a pleasure to work with all of you. For introductions, we have three officers who couldn't make it here this evening. Officer Matt Kosovar, he's stationed here at Mayfield High School, Mayfield Village Police Department. Officer Dylan Gertie, Millbridge Elementary School, Highland Heights Police Department. Zach Reeland, Center Elementary School, Mayfield Village Police Department. With us this evening, I believe this is 6 years that you've been with us. Since the inception of our program, 6 years ago, Arch Kimbrough has been at Gatesville Elementary School, serving as a school resource officer there. He's a tremendous asset to all of our kiddos in that building, as well as our administrative staff and students. He also plays mediating kickball. Next we have Van Slater from Lander Elementary School. Van has been with us 3 years over at Lander. He's been great. Missed a little bit of time with us last year, but back. Love having Van on the car detail in the morning. Helps me get it out there and all that, the crazy commotion in the morning. So thank you so much for all that you do. The last, and certainly not least, Joe Luskovic, over at Mayfield Middle School. Officer Joe's been with us 3 years now, Joe? 4 years, sorry, Joe. 4 years, tremendous asset. Proximity to the middle school and the board office is tremendous, so I kind of have some ideas to work through with our SROs, and they're all a great team. I kind of bounce them off Joe and these guys here. We kind of work towards safety planning, practice, etc. These guys are instrumental in what we do to keep our kids safe and our students and staff safe here in the district. So here you go, Joe. Round of applause.
It is.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian Lynn. I'm the principal at Mayfield High School, and I am pleased to honor our students, our Science Olympiad athletes this evening. So can we give a round warm applause to Mary Fash, our Science Olympiad advisor? So a quick shout out to Mary. Mary has done Science Olympiad for a while in Mayfield City Schools, and she has built an army of Science Olympiad soldiers. And they have so much fun. They're over there at the Innovation Center. They're always working. And you know, we couldn't find an advisor for a little bit this year because Mary told me she wasn't going to do it anymore, but whatever. So she came back. I'm very persuasive. So Mary, for the love of the students, for the love of Mayfield, she continued to, so she came back and signed on as the advisor again. And she just told me the other day, 1 more year, right? No, okay. But anyways, I'm very proud of Mary. I'm also very, very proud of our students. They've competed all across the state, and they've recently brought home some hardware. So please, to some of our highest achieving students, our brightest and best, I'm going to read a little excerpt. And we're going to get you, when we call you up, we'll get you some certificates. So the Mayfield Division C Science Olympiad team, grades 9 through 12, had a very successful year with 35 team members competing on 2 teams and 5 invitational tournaments, leading up to the regional and state tournaments. The Northeast Ohio Regional Tournament was held on March 2nd at Baldwin Wallace University in Berea. With 21 teams representing 14 schools, Mayfield placed 5th, earning a bid to the state tournament. The state tournament was held on April 27th at the Ohio State University main campus in Columbus. Mayfield placed 6th of the 40 teams competing. Let's give that a round of applause. Thank you to our students that are here tonight. When you hear your name, come on up. We have some certificates for you. You might have to hang out because there's a lot of honors. So, our seniors, in the Northeast Ohio Regional, 5th place, and state 6th place team members, our seniors Amelia Russell, Leah Stifler, juniors Nityashri Arun, Ria Deshpande, Philip Golzak, it's okay, come on up, Ryan Nemeth, Daniel Prolitsky, Corinne Schreiber, Jaswant Singh, Michael Thompson, our sophomores, Krish Punyam, Purva Punyam, Isabella Singh, and our freshmen, Simran Sarkar and Neva Yadav.
rows. Let's do, just kind of combine.
Parents, if you want to come up and get photos, please come up. Here you go. Good. If you can come this way. Thank you. Mr. Lynn, Mrs. Bash, come on up. Actually, Mr. Lynn, will you go on that side? And then board members, if you want to get in there as well. That's great.
Another round of applause, please.
Thank you.
So before I move on, just a little bit, I think I was supposed to do this earlier, but I didn't, so it's okay. But it just shows you how intelligent these young men and women are. But Rhea Deshmonde and Corinne Shriver plays fourth at regional air and air trajectory. Ryan Nemeth and Neva Yadav plays fourth at regional and fourth at state in anatomy and physiology. Jaswant Singh and Michael Thompson plays fifth at regional in astronomy. Philip Golzak and Ryan Nemeth plays first at regional in detector building. Ryan Nemeth and Philip Golzak place second at regional, fifth at state in disease detectives. Leah Stifler and Kirsch Punyam place second at regional and fifth at state in dynamic planet. Amelia Russell and Ryan Nemeth place second at regional and third at state in ecology. Jaswant Singh and Michael Thompson place fifth at regional in Fermi questions. Leah Stifler and Isabella Singh place fifth at regional in geologic mapping. Philip Golzak and Jaswant Singh place fourth at regional and third at state in robot tour. And Corinne Shriver and Michael Thompson place sixth at state in scramble. So great job.
So next on your board agenda are some pretty special people as well. These ladies and gentlemen have been recommended to you vote on tonight for a continuing contract. With great pride and great admiration that I introduce to you a remarkable group of educators who have recently qualified for tenure in the district. These dedicated professionals have demonstrated exceptional commitment to their students, consistently delivering high-quality instruction, fostering an inclusive, engaging learning environment. Their unwavering passion for education, combined with their innovative teaching methods and collaborative spirit, has not only enriched the academic experiences of their students, but also contributed significantly to the overall excellence of our schools. As tenured teachers, they will embody the values and standards of our district, and their continued contributions will undoubtedly inspire both their colleagues and the young minds they nurture every day. So I'm going to ask our principals to come up and say a few words about each one of the candidates. One of our principals couldn't be here, so I'm going to jump first, and that's Mrs. Cicerci. She has Mrs. Saka in her building. Is Nikki here? Okay, I wasn't sure if she was going to be able to make it. I'll say a few words. Mrs. Cicerci is actually coaching her daughter's softball team right now. Those of you that know, she's probably encouraging an umpire to do better. Mrs. Saka has been a great asset to the Lander community throughout her career in Mayfield. Mrs. Saka demonstrates the ability to implement different interventions and strategies to meet students' comprehensive needs. Mrs. Saka builds and maintains positive relationships with students and families, and we appreciate her ability to foster an environment where students feel safe and successful. Thank you, Mrs. Saka, for your commitment and dedication to Mayfield schools. I should have said this first, but after everybody comes up, if you wouldn't mind just standing to the side, I know Lori wants to get a picture of all our candidates. So, you up?
Yeah, I'm up.
All right.
Alice Jukich, come on up. I know you're here with your parents and some teammates. Good evening, I'm Paul Castillo, the principal at Mayfield Middle School. and extremely excited to introduce a rock star teacher at the building. Alex works well with others and is particularly effective in relationships with children. When you walk into her classroom, you sense she is child-centered. You feel the non-judgmental atmosphere of mutual respect and caring. She demonstrates flexibility and is always enthusiastic about implementing curriculum. So she's a fellow John Carroll alum. She actually student taught at our building, and we knew in October, total keeper, total rock star, total home run. She's a teacher leader in our building. She really advocates for kids, all types of kids. You make us proud every day. I know that you'll be here much longer than I am, or I will be, and when I leave, the new principal eventually will say, boy, did that principal get it right. She's an absolute rock star. Congratulations, Alex. Mr. Lynn.
Congratulations. All right. Mrs. Dellinger, could you come on up, please? Mr. Dellinger. So I'd like to introduce to you Mrs. Sarah Dellinger. She teaches English as a second language at Mayfield High School. And she is a fantastic colleague. She works with students from all around the world with differing varied language abilities. And I say this and I've covered this multiple times. When I come into her classroom, it's such a warm environment, and there are students that come in that know not a word of English. There are students that are progressing through various stages, and she advocates for her students, and she includes them in every aspect. So thank you for being an amazing teacher and a great colleague. She's been teaching and working with students for over a decade. For the first 5 years of her career, she taught and advised students at the university level, including the University of Mount Union, Case Western Reserve University, and Ingenio University in Costa Rica. She feels extremely lucky to have an amazing family to support her, a reminder about the important and beautiful things in this life. She's grateful to her husband, Adam, and her two incredible children, Miles and Hazel. They all inspire me, and I think they're here tonight. Right there. Her favorite thing about Mayfield is being a part of a group of people. This includes staff, students in the community who genuinely care for one another and do not hesitate to reach out and support one another in times of need. And lastly, Sarah said, and this is just who she is as a person. Being an educator has enriched my life in numerous ways. As I have grown and learned with my students, my goal, her goal, is to always strive to make the experience of learning enjoyable, engaging, and memorable for all my students. Congratulations, Mrs. Dellinger. Ms. Emily Schaefer, come on up. So Mrs. Schaefer is new to the high school this year, and I will tell you, just her reputation at the middle school, and I had to fight to keep about, I don't know, 1 million 10th graders out of her class because she is who she is. She is high energy, she is highly professional, and she is lights out as a teacher. So we are so thankful to have her in Mayfield High School. She has my son in class, and his nickname is Daddy's Little Princess. In a good way, though. She's pushed him in a good way. It's okay. So anyways, but Mrs. Schaefer, this wraps up her 8th year of teaching in Mayfield City Schools. She was hired at Mayfield Middle School, where she taught for 7 years, and then was transferred to Mayfield High School this past year. Her husband, Frank, who's here with her this evening, teaches at Mayfield Middle School and is one of her biggest supporters and inspirations. Frank and Emily were lucky enough to teach in the same building at Mayfield Middle School for 2 years, and being able to positively influence a school community together was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that they were so grateful to have. The relationships that they built with students over those 2 years are some of the strongest bonds we've ever formed, and the memories we made are ones that mean the world to us. And the best part of teaching in Mayfield, she states very clearly, is students. So congratulations to you. Mrs. Busden, come on up. Teresa Busden teaches mathematics here at Mayfield High School. She's been teaching a total of 17.5 years after the school year. She taught 2.5 years at Kettering Fairmont in Dayton, Ohio. Then she taught for 6 years at Adlai Stevenson High School in the northern suburb of Chicago. She subbed for Marty Mackar in May of 2015 when he had surgery. The next year she was here as a long-term sub, and then she was asked to come back the next year. Her husband Mark and her boys, Max, Gavin, and Dylan, are her inspiration. And she says the best part about teaching is her heart is in teaching because of the students. I care about them deeply. I also enjoy my colleagues, especially those in the math department. They were so welcoming when I started. They've always been supportive both professionally and personally. And lastly, she states, thank you to the administration for believing in me as a teacher and allowing me the opportunity to teach here. We're so lucky to work with Mrs. Busden. She has such a caring heart. She's a fantastic teacher. Her kids are learning math at all different levels, and just the level of care and support you give her kids in tonight. So I'm proud to call you a colleague.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to introduce to you Mrs. Kristen Tyler. I'm so excited to recommend her for tenure tonight. Kristen Tyler has just been an enthusiastic leader for us at Mill Ridge. She's a part of our ILT, and one of the things that I'm most proud of is that when she's in her leadership role, it's all about our kids. Whenever you enter Mill Ridge, you're going to see her with our students, doing the work, working on reading, working on math, and championing each and every one of our kids every day. And I can't say enough about that. I did promise her I would keep it short and sweet. I could go on and on. Her husband, who's a Highland Heights firefighter, is here this evening as well. And they have a hot date at Costco tonight. One other thing, she's incredibly proud of her 3 little children, which is why their date night is going to be at Costco. And I thank you for taking care of our kids like you take care of your own. You're welcome. Congratulations, guys. I know.
There we go.
At this time, we need a motion and a second to accept the continuing contracts.
So,
Second. Roll call.
Ms. Reed.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
So we also need a motion for classified continuing contracts.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Reed.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Bernard.
Yes.
Right, that moves us to community communications. You will notice in the agenda that there is a highlighted version. This version is intact, however, it isn't up on the system, so that is the reason it appears with the directions. At this time, I know there's several students that need to leave in order to handle homework, etc. So we're going to take a moment.
should be very popular.
Yes.
read this Tuesday.
Okay, welcome back after our intermission. We have one registered speaker, that is Stephanie Farino. So if you would like to take the podium, I will say that there was no one who wanted to speak to an agenda item.
Okay. I'll stand in front, I'm too short. No, that's okay. Hello, welcome. Now it's a lot more empty, that's okay. My name is Stephanie Farino. I'm the head of the Children's Department at the Mayfield Library, branch of Cuyahoga County Public Library on Sunset Road. I'm here today to talk about some shared goals that we have, the library and the school district. So we're just as focusing on making sure that the students don't have a summer slide, just as much as you guys are. So I wanted to talk to you guys about our summer reading program and some other programs that we have going on in the library this summer. So our summer reading program is for all ages, from birth all the way up to all adults. So you guys can earn prizes too. But we really focused this year on making it for parents and guardians to choose their daily reading. So in the past we've had trackers that were in 20-minute segments, and avid readers just flew through the trackers and they got all of the great prizes, and the struggling readers were rewarded. They would come in, they took the whole entire summer just to complete one board, and all the good prizes were gone. So this year we really changed it up. We have it where parents and guardians pick the daily reading goal. So it could be 20 minutes, it could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour. So once you hit that daily reading goal, then you mark it on your tracker, and it's a 10-day tracker, so kind of like a calendar. So struggling readers, they can feel empowered because they've read their maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and they're done for the day, and your avid readers are going to read anyway. So, and then they can do that up to 5 times. So it's 50 days of reading for the entire summer, and they earn really cool prizes. We have a bunch of fun things that kids are into, like Pop-Its and slime, but we have some really cool prizes too, like a free scoop of Mitchell's ice cream. We have tickets to Playhouse Square with a limo ride there, so there's a lot of really cool things, and that parents and teachers can also get, so you might want to read too. So that is just something that we're focusing on, and I've already visited all of the classes at Lander and all the classes at Mill Ridge, and this week we have the kindergarten classes from Center coming to the library as well to talk about summer reading. So so we are looking at all age groups as well. So we have programs during the summer called Summer Fun for Everyone, and it is on Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays are grades 4 through 6, and we incorporate some type of element of STEAM in our program. So we have different bubble experiments, they get to make their own mini golf course, we have a bunch of cool stuff. On Wednesdays, it's grades 1st through 3rd, and as well, same thing. And then we have fun teen programs as well, so that's grades 6 through 12. Our teen librarian's really engaged with the teens. She does, we have our own innovation center as well, so they're going to be in there this summer, the sublimation printer, the heat press, she does it all, so a lot of tech center as well while they're out in the buildings in their school districts. And then we also have kindergarten countdown, which is geared towards families that haven't had a formal preschool element. So if they've been to preschool, they can attend it, but it's to give them that classroom experience and some kindergarten readiness skills that they might not have been exposed to. So that's once a month on the 3rd Wednesday in the evening. So it's called Kindergarten Countdown. And of course we have our story times, which are our bread and butter at the library. So I do the baby story times, we have a toddler story time twice a week, we also have a preschool story time, and a family story time. We have a story time every single day during the week. So we are here for you guys. We care just about as much as with your kids as you guys do. So we're always looking for partnerships, and I know Dr. Barnes and I might have something up our sleeves coming up. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you help motivate you spend time in the park? All right. That moves us to president's announcements. I have just a couple. Tomorrow evening is the CVEC graduation. Then on the 28th is the excellence reception. June 1st is the big day, graduation. And June 6th, last day of school. That's it for me. Are there any board meetings? Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Thanks, Madam President. A couple of updates. In athletics, the Mayfield baseball team won their 4th conference championship in the past 5 seasons. The Wildcats defeated Massillon, Washington 10-0 in the sectional finals to advance to the district tournament, which was Tuesday. In the district tournament, the baseball team won again and beat Walsh 11-8 and plays tomorrow against Hoover. So we're excited for the baseball team and we wish them continued success. Also, Mayfield boys tennis won their 4th consecutive conference championship. Wildcats were undefeated in the WRC during the regular season and won all 5 courts at the conference tournament. Let's see, Josh Kuskovich was the WRC Player of the Year. Forgive me if I mispronounce his name. The girls' track and field team won the conference championship for the first time since 2003. I believe I was coaching track at that time. So it's quite a while ago. But congratulations to them. And then lastly, congratulations to our students and teachers who participated in our first Fine Arts showcase, May 4th through 5th. The talent of our students, musicians, singers, artists, was on full display for hundreds of guests. In fact, I think Mr. Schreiber said we had more than 3,000 people attend over that weekend. I know when I came on Sunday, there had to be more than 500 people here. So this is definitely something that we will continue. We talk about being a AAA district where we emphasize the arts, athletics, and the academics. This is just a quick update on how our kids are progressing in that area. So with that, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, board meeting. Okay. That will move us to the superintendent's consent agenda, items A through D. Second.
Motion is passed. Thank you.
Roll call.
Ms. Reed.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
All right, that should move us to other superintendent's business and the student handbooks. Motion to approve. Second. Before we take a vote, I just want to say that if there's anything within the handbooks that's not substantive, it will be corrected as we go along. Because there may be a couple of items that are there. We're always looking for punctuations and corrections. Roll call?
Ms. Reed.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
All right, that moves us to volunteers. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Reed.
Abstain.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Fenaro.
Next, we move to the treasurer's report and the financial statements for April 30th, 2024. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Reed.
Yes.
Ms. Grosek.
Yes.
Mr. Hess.
Yes.
Mr. Pressley. Sorry, Mr. Fenaro.
Yes.
And financial transactions. Motion to approve. So moved. Roll Roll call?
Ms. Creed?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Menard?
Yes.
And that moves us to
A very brief presentation. I know that it's beautiful outside. I do have hand copies of these. If I may ask somebody if anybody would like one. It is also on the district, it will be on my treasurer's webpage, as well as it's linked to this, the actual board doc agenda. So without further ado, I'm going to walk through this. The title of this presentation is The Impact of Reappraisal on Property Tax Collections by Community. That's going to be the emphasis. I shared a presentation a few months ago that talked about the different mechanics about how reappraisal could impact different property types, residential primarily. Page down. Crane's Cleveland Business Magazine, in a recent edition on May 6th, The Tax Man Cometh. I thought that that title might have been the sequel to The Male Intellect and Oxymoron on Playhouse Square. It's a little, and I say that because the Taxman comment, it's a little bit misleading, which I'll share with you in a moment, how that could impact a variety of communities. But again, that seems to be at least a comment or thought out into the community or out into the public. As I mentioned the last time, and for some strange reason, this thing, if I can slightly, anyways, this is intended to demonstrate that the majority of the revenue we receive comes from property taxes. So 88 cents of every dollar received comes from these local sources. I mentioned the last time that, let's see if I can't scroll this down a little bit. This, can't move the screen, so you're kind of stuck with it, kind of caught there in the middle. I was demonstrating to everybody that there are two types of property classifications, residential, which we're going to focus on tonight. The other type is commercial industrial. They both have different tax rates. They're both going to be reappraised differently. We have different types of tax rates. One would be exempt from 920, meaning the rollback function, and the other is subjected to rollback, which means as property values increase, the tax rate is reduced so that the same revenue generated is approximately the same. I shared this with the group the last time. This is an actual copy from the tax duplicate of tax rates. The intent here was to say, hey, Mayfield is not the only property tax collector when it comes to property taxes paid. I'd like to highlight to the right-hand side of the page, in 1976 for operations only, the district had a tax rate of 37.47 mils. The reason why I picked 1976 is because that's when the state enacted House Bill 920 that in effect reduces our tax rate because of property appreciation. In 2023, that number is 42.34 mils, not including our PI levies. So we've passed 10 issues to raise essentially, to have a tax rate that's 4.87 mils higher than 1976. So even though taxes have gone up, we continue to have to pass additional tax levies so that we can maintain a tax rate that was in essence in effect at that time. I want you to remember that number, 42.34, because you're going to notice when I show you some examples about reappraisal and how that might impact that millage rate, you're going to see that we're going to fall below that rate if we have a certain percentage increase in real property reappraisal. I shared with you the last time, and again, oh, there we go. Zero down button, Scott. I shared with you the last time the tax calculation. Fair market value of 100,000, assessment rate is 35% of fair market times the Mayfield voted effective rate of 0.4678. That includes the PI tax rate. We receive $1,637.11 as a school district for every $100,000 of fair market value. However, the total tax bill includes other governmental units. So the total taxes paid is $2,766.87. We get 59% of the total taxes paid. The other governmental entities get 41 cents. Scott, where does that go? Who gets what? So Mayfield, as I mentioned, gets 59% or 59 cents of every tax dollar paid. Look at the rest of basically local government, whether it be city, municipality, county. So I'll give an example. In this particular distribution, Mayfield Heights City would receive 13% of the tax bill paid. They have 10 effective mills. All 10 of those mills are not subjected to the House Bill 920 reduction factors. We pay 16% to Cuyahoga County government, not to be confused with Cuyahoga Community College, which gets 5 cents of every dollar paid.
So remember, there's a lot of people receiving these dollars. I will tell you this with certainty. 100% of local income taxes paid go to the local income tax collectors like Mayfield Heights, Mayfield Village, Gates Mills, and Highland Heights. We do not receive any of it. This percentage to the schools fluctuates between 59% and 66%. Why? Because the variable tax rate is among the municipalities. Scott, what does that look like? Well, right here it is. As I mentioned, Mayfield Heights has 10 effective tax mills. Those are not reduced because of House Bill 920, largely because 6.52 of those are what's considered charter millage. It's embedded in the city charter. Those are not subject to 920, which is a state law. Highland Heights, for example, has 4 voted and effective mills, also not subject to House Bill 920, because again, there's charter millage in there that's, again, exempted from that. So you can see Mayfield Heights, 10, Highland Heights, 4, Gates Mills has 14.48 voted, 12.34 collected, Mayfield Village has 5 total, 3.72. So you can see if you use Mayfield Heights as the distribution example that I used, 59 cents comes to Mayfield. Everything else is going to be a variation of that. Likely at Mayfield Village, we're going to get a higher percentage of that collected, but it's still the same tax rate for Mayfield City Schools. The same for the county rates, because those are essentially, the law of uniform taxation says everybody's taxed the same rate for the same classification of property. The governmental units are what's the variable. Any questions about that? Mr. Bernard, you're looking at me like I'm talking too fast. I'm just trying to be concise. Scott, where does Mayfield City Schools rank within the county? Both of these are intended to just simply illustrate that of the 31 public school districts in Cuyahoga County, we are right in the middle. 17th out of 31. The average effective tax rate is 50.21. We're at 46.77. The median or the midpoint is 49.14. Again, we're below both of those. This is where I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the baseline calculations, and I'm going to walk through 2 examples. I'm going to make some concluding remarks, and I'm going to be quiet and field questions. So taking current year tax rates. So 5 inside mills for the district, 37.32 is our voted effective for operating. We have 4.42 for voted for PI, which means those are restricted for capital improvements. We can't take PI money and pay for operating expenses, salaries, wages, utilities, etc. You take our entire effective tax rate of 46.77 times the various property values for our 4 communities. So I'm going to give Gates Mills as an example. $220,266,210 is the entire assessed value for all Class 1 residential property in Gates Mills. That means if you take everybody's home and you added it together, that's that total value of which our taxes are applied against. So it'd be 220 million times 5.02 generates $1,105,736 of what's considered inside millage or non-House Bill 920 effective millage, which means that's going to grow with inflation. So when we say reappraisal, if Gates Mills if reappraisal generates a 10% increase, 5 mills is going to grow by 10%. Okay, conceptually then, the voted operating millage of 37.32, that times 220 million generates or yields, you can see voted operating, $8,221,401. That number is going to be adjusted down, so in theory, if all properties appreciate the same level, that value will remain the same, and Mayfield will not receive any additional money. You'll just see a reduction in that tax rate. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Same thing with voted PI. So if you go left to right, Gates Mills to the total, Gates Mills provides $10.3 million in property taxes to the district from its residents only. Highland Heights 17.5, Mayfield Heights 16.6, and Mayfield Village 5.7 for a total of $50.2 million. The distribution, 5.3 million comes from what's called inside or unvoted millage. This assumes 100% property tax collections. And I just want to again state that the PI money cannot be used for operations. So therefore, as we have operational inflation,
we don't consider PI to offset that additional cost. That is to pay for the capital improvements that you've seen around the district. So that's baseline. Okay, now let's talk about the impact of reappraisal. Let me narrow down. Let's assume 10% is the reappraisal rate for our school district within all 4 of our communities. And let's assume that reappraisal impacts each district, each sub-community the same. So what I mean by that is Gates Mills, all properties within Gates Mills appreciate by 10%. Same for Highland Heights, same for Mayfield Heights, same for Mayfield Village. The way that this tax structure works in Ohio is the unvoted can realize that appreciable increase. Meaning, I said in the slide before, absent the 10% increase, whoops, we received $5.3 million in total in unvoted property tax collections. A 10% increase, we get $5.9 million of unvoted property tax revenue. The voted operating is still $40 million because the voted operating tax rate is going to be reduced by 3.39 mils. Because House Bill 920 says this: carryover property that appreciates for voted continuing expense operating levy, the rate is reduced so that the same taxes that are generated from that carryover property remains the same. So I'm going to go back up to the example beforehand. The baseline calculation, we got $40,093,688 in voted operating revenue. With a 10% inflationary increase, we still get $40,093,688 in that voted operating tax collections to the district on carryover property. So, if there's an increase of 10% in reappraisal, the district will realize a 1% increase in revenue, $539,000. 1%. 10% increase, 1% additional operating revenue to the district, not 10%. There seems to be a misconception out there. In districts, unlike ours, that have different types of millage, I'll cite West Georgia as an example. They're at what's called the 20 mil floor, which means all of their voted continuing school tax millage has been reduced to 20 mils, which is the statutory floor. They then pass what are called emergencies, which are fixed dollar levies. So that means those get calculated and are assessed differently. So when property appreciation occurs, those 20 mils do grow with inflation. They could realize, and they have, because Geauga County had a 30% increase year over year in reappraisal, a larger increase in revenue. But I've just shared with you, a 10% increase to us equals a 1% increase in operating revenue. We have factored in 8% in our 5-year forecast. So right now, we're looking at 2% above what we have factored, or about $100,000. That's the only addition in this example. Questions on reappraisal, uniformity, reduction. I'm not going to go into the level of detail in this next example. However, here's what I think is more likely the case. And this is just at a macro level by community. Please note this also goes street by street, maybe house to house. It all varies. So let's assume for a moment that the average change is 17% versus 10%. And it's not a uniform distribution. What I mean by that is the tax rate is based on the average change within a classification of property. Not classification within Gates Mills, not a classification within Mayfield Heights, but within the classification within the school district. What was the average change of all that Class 1 or residential real property? In this example, I've assumed the following, just for illustration purposes only. So please know this isn't, I don't have any of this information from the county. Let's assume that Gates Mills has a 2% reappraisal rate, and Mayfield Heights has a 30% reappraisal rate. Highland Heights has a 15%, and Mayfield Village 10%. The average change year over year is 17%. I mentioned a 10% increase yields about a 1% increase in revenue. 17%, it's a 1.8% additional yield, additional revenue to the district. But look below at the distribution by community. So if the tax rate's based on the average, if my property appreciates less than the average, I tend to pay less. If my property appreciates greater than the average, I pay more. So in this scenario, it's just a scenario, Gates Mills would pay 11% year-over-year less in property taxes if their property is appreciated by 2%. Mayfield Heights, if their property appreciated by a 30% rate, would see a 13% increase year-over-year in taxes. However, the difference in voted operating to the district would be 0, and we're only seeing growth on inside or unvoted millage. So here's what happens in this scenario. When it's not uniform, this is by community. If it's by street, if it's by neighbor, the people whose property appreciates greater than the average, they call me. And they start complaining and they tell me, you got more revenue. I know because I'm paying more. And I said to them, you may be paying more. What did your house appreciate at? Because here's what the average was. That's why this reappraisal is going to be overly complex and it's not going to be uniform. And the percentages are going to vary within all of our communities, not just within Mayfield, but within Cuyahoga County. So this is going to be somewhat of a confusing piece, but I think the takeaway here is a 10% increase in reappraisal generates a 1% increase in additional revenue to the district. That's it. If our inflation is around 5 to 6% and we get a 1% addition, we're still underwater keeping up with inflation, school district inflation. I'm going to page down, concluding points. I talked a little bit about this. I said 8% is what we factored in. 1 mil to this district in tax year 23 generates $1.5 million annually, assuming 100% collection. This does not include class 2, which is business property. I will tell you, office space is taking a beating. Office space and if you look at your department stores or your retail space, they're taking a beating. What's helping us in Mayfield is we've got a very diverse class 2 property base. Apartment complexes are considered class 2, not residential. Apartment bill rates are up, so that's going to offset that in manufacturing. I can tell you standing here right now, Progressive Insurance has already filed a reduction complaint to all of its remaining properties that it owns. Park Place just sold. Thank goodness. The Progressive, that Park Place is taking over. Thank God and goodness that they're going to get a sizable improvement to it as well. So we're excited about that. But 50% reduction is what Progressive is asking for. And the North Commons main campus is currently under an abatement, which is outside of all the tax calculations. So they're successful in that 50% abatement. It's currently paying us $1.6 million annually. That'll be a 50% loss, $800,000. So this thing has a lot of moving pieces and parts. To say you're benefiting here, please know that because we're fortunate, we have a diverse tax base, but we take the ebbs and flows on both sides of it. And our commercial tax base is about 1/3 of our overall tax base. They pay about 1/3 of the taxes. And they'll tell us that they don't get a chance to vote, which is true as well. So the final piece I want to make is the reappraisal is supposed to be sent to Columbus in June. And in July and August, residents will get it. They will receive, they will be able to attend hearings to hear about the process. They will get a postcard in the mail that will demonstrate what their appraisal will look like, reappraisal. And they will have an opportunity to file a complaint if they don't believe that those reappraisal values are correct. They go to the Cuyahoga County Board of Revisions and plead their case. If they're unsuccessful there, they can then take their argument down to the Ohio Board of Tax Appeals. Mayfield City Schools does not participate in residential complaints. We don't. That's between you and the county, you and the state. We don't participate. You bring your evidence, you bring your sales information, you bring in the fact that your roof is caving in. We don't care. If they agree with it, it's between you and them. When it comes to Class 2 commercial, we absolutely will get involved with those if it's a material value. I was not brief, but this is a heady topic, and the reason why I wanted to present this is because the next item on the agenda is the 5-year forecast. This information is not yet known. So June is the target date in which we should get an idea of what this reappraisal is going to look like. The reason why that's important is because 88 cents of every dollar we collect comes from our local property sources. We need to know what that percentage increase is going to look like. Because if we're going to present a levy on the November ballot, we want to make certain that it's sized appropriately so that we're cognizant of this increase in tax collections to us, so that we're also being somewhat, or I should say somewhat, being thoughtful for our residents and our residents. Questions, comments, because this is there's a lot, and I'm happy to take questions even now. outside of this. Thoughts? It's confusing. It's called the Ohio tax law. Mr. Hess?
Next year, theoretically or possibly, it could change all again down to Columbus?
So,
Or does it not happen that often?
So every 3 years, or every 6 years is a reappraisal, every 3 years is a perennial update. What's throwing this whole thing, what's adding to the chaos is COVID. And what's changed with work rules for office space, a lot of people work remote. So the rules just changed. If we look at COVID's also their impact on new housing starts. The housing market got deeply disrupted, so therefore the supply wasn't very large. So then all of the first-time home buyers are those that, because the cost of capital was cheap, meaning borrowing, they were driving the prices up. So to your point, is this going to be sustainable and these values going to be overinflated? And that's what everybody's concerned about. Is the market today going to crash like we saw during the Great Recession, where everybody was challenging the value of their property because there were too many homes that were underwater because of the subprime crisis? So the county went in and basically said, we're going to take a 10% reduction in all property values to basically have the run on the bank. We're going to do something else here because right now I think we're seeing a lot of volatility. In the 18 years I've been here, this has been the most volatile economic period of time, meaning you look at the last decade, the last decade and a half, between the Great Recession and now COVID and its impact in the global economy. Long-winded response to say, no.
Yeah.
I don't think Columbus has, this is more of a regional, and I would say even a national epidemic right now. Because housing starts everywhere are down. The housing market's upside down everywhere. The only good thing is inflation's rising, so that means the cost of money is getting more expensive, which means the demand for the existing stock is probably a little lighter. But there's not isn't enough vacancies are available. Houses are still going quick. Upside down world. But to end on the positive, applaud everybody who got on it tonight. Say something positive.
So next we have a 5-year forecast. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Again, this is a regurgitation of the October forecast. What we do intend to do is when we get this information, come back in June, update the numbers, and have a more robust conversation with school district finances. So we're just simply delaying another update to this. So to look for more in June, and that's for the audience as well.
Roll call?
Ms. Grieve?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
Next we have financial transactions. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Grieve?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
And on to other treasurer's business. We have the minutes from the regular board meeting of April 24th. Motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Grieve?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
And the ESC of Medina County Service Agreement for Behavioral Services for the fiscal year 2025. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Grieve?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
And the ESC of Northeast Ohio Positive Education Program for PEP. Motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Grieve?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Bernard?
Yes.
Next we have the merger contract for Mayfield High School penthouses, AC HVAC units, ANC HVAC units. Motion to approve.
So moved.
It sounds glorious.
Yes.
It's not.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Grieve?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Naro?
Yes.
And in other board business, we have the superintendent's and treasurer's professional travel. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Naro?
Yes.
No, that was proud. Next is the settlement agreement. Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Naro?
Yes.
And last, and motion to adjourn. Second. Roll call?
Ms. Reed?
Yes.
Ms. Grosek?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yes.
Mr. Naro?
Yes.